First and foremost, he's telling you, understand, there are certain laws, these are the foundations. If a woman is not willing to keep Shabbat, the Bet Din tells you, continue, get her to do tshuva. She's not willing to keep kosher, continue, get her to do tshuva. She's not willing to keep a lot of laws, all the other laws, say, continue, keep going. But if he says, my woman is not willing to keep Taharat HaMishpacha, they said, you give you a get on the spot. Most Bet Dins, they give you a get on the spot. Why? You can't live together. You can't give it what it says on the ketubah, and you are allowed to get divorced right on the spot. Why? You're not allowed to be in the same house. Because you're not allowed to touch her. And how many men are going to hold up to that test? Now, obviously, different rabbis know their students differently. So I know there's a very famous story about Rabbi Uri Zohar. Shichyeh, he's a huge Mizakeh Rabim, huge KIRUV Rabbi in Israel, and he used to be pretty much the #1 movie star in Israel and producer. And they actually invited him to come to Hollywood and so on. He was very, very wealthy, very, very successful, but in the worst possible business in the world. One day he started doing tshuva, Baruch Hashem, and his wife was a scholar. Was a very, very established woman, very smart and intellectual. So she never found Judaism to be anything. She made fun of it. She didn't care for it. So in the beginning, he was just focusing on his own tshuva, but eventually he said, okay, listen, can you please go to the mikveh? She goes, go to the mikveh, ichsa. I'm not going to the mikveh. Why would I go to I'm going to the pool, I go to the beach, why would I go to the mikveh? She's not keeping anything. He's keeping Shabbat, he's keeping everything, she doesn't want to keep nothing. She goes to his rabbi, says, Rabbi, she doesn't want to keep Taharat HaMishpacha, I can't be with her. I'm sleeping on one floor of the house, she's sleeping on another floor of the house. I can't be with her. Because I know from next time I'm going to fail. And his rabbi knew him well, knew what he could stand. And he said, stay with her. She'll do tshuva eventually. He says, Rabbi, I tried. He goes, she's not interested. Stay with her. And again, this is based on a relationship between a rabbi and a student. Not in general, if the woman is not keeping Taharat HaMishpacha, the Bet Din will allow you to get divorced. And anyway, long story short, eventually the rabbi comes up with a brilliant idea. And he says, listen, try this last test. Try this last thing. Take one of the books of the Rambam and read it at the kitchen table. The kitchen table, read it. After you finish, don't put it back in the shelf. Leave it there. Every day, open it up a little bit, read something, make comments if you want, or not. Read it, and put it back. That's it. Just leave it on the kitchen table all the time. Never remove it from the kitchen table. Rabbi says, Rabbi, I do, right? So this is what he does. One day, he comes home, and his wife comes out, and she looks at him, and he says, today she looked at me differently. And I said, hi, how are you? And she goes, okay. I'll go to that mikveh. That mikveh you want me to go? I'll go. And Rabbi Uri Zohar says, I didn't ask her why. I was so excited. I've been waiting for years. It wasn't like a few months. From what I remember, it's 5 years he waited. 5 years he waited for his wife to go to the mikveh. We wouldn't be able to 5 days. 5 years. This is the dargah of somebody. Somebody who's very holy. Already early in his tshuva, he was very holy. To leave what he left and to become a KIRUV Rabbi, it's not something for everybody. And he's one of the biggest ones. Anyway, he says, I was so excited, I didn't bother or care about why. I saw something changed. She went to the mikveh, Baruch Hashem, and he says, today, she's much more religious than me. He's a KIRUV Rabbi. He makes people do tshuva, brings them from Gehenom to Gan Eden for years. Takes them out of Gehenom, puts them in Gan Eden. He says, my wife, bigger tzadikah, much more religious than me. I could say the same probably for all KIRUV Rabbis' wives. Why? Because in order for a wife to allow a husband to constantly travel every single day, go from place to place to place to place to place for free, takes a special woman. It takes a special tzadikah. It's not like you're bringing millions to the house. Hey, honey, I came home. He brings a wad of, stacks of cash. What does he come with? He gives stacks of problems. Hey, honey, this student has this one. This student has that one. This student has this one. So anyway, for years he didn't ask her. For years he didn't ask her. He says, one day I asked her. I had to ask her after years. Baruch Hashem, she's very religious. I asked her, what got you interested? What happened? She says, I saw that book you kept looking into every day. That Rambam book. And I always ask myself, what is he reading all the time? What is he reading? What is he so interested in that book? What's in that book that he's so interested? So one day you left, and I looked into the book that was in the kitchen. And I looked at it. She was a scholar. She wasn't like an average person. She was a scholar. She's a very, very intelligent person. Very big intellectual. She says, I read the book. She goes, oh, you like what it says? She goes, no. I didn't understand anything. I read a whole page. I did not, with all the levels of Hebrew that I have, and all the things that I know, and all the things that I learned, and all the things and all, I didn't understand one word in the entire page, except that I knew that whatever he's writing, it's serious. Whatever this Rambam is writing, it's meaningful. It's serious. And if it's serious, I want to be a part of it. It's not a joke. It's not just an illusion. It's not just putting on black and white and wearing a beard. Whatever he's writing, it's serious. It's meaningful. I want to be a part of it. It's time for us to be serious. It's time for us to take Hashem seriously. Because as he's telling you in Parashat Shavua, I gave you bracha u'klala, it's together. If you're still 50-50, and your mitzvah is 50-50, and you're acting like you're doing Hashem a favor for coming to Shiur Torah, for doing tefillin, for giving tzedakah, for anything you're doing, it's all 50-50, it's 75-25, it's all incomplete, you have a problem. You have a serious, serious problem. Because that's what's going to be used against you. In the Bet Din of Shamayim, they're going to ask you, not, why didn't you do what you didn't know? They're not going to ask you, why didn't you do the korbanot in Bet HaMikdash? They're not going to ask you that. Why? There's no Bet Mikdash. Why didn't you give Shuret Torah 7 days a week? You don't give Shuret Torah. You work in an insurance company. You work in a tire company. You work in, Merrill Lynch or something. You don't do that. They're not going to ask you why you didn't give Shuret Torah. They're not going to ask you, why didn't you give $1 million a year in tzedakah? You make $50,000. You can't give $1 million a year in tzedakah. They're not going to ask you that. What are they going to ask you? Why didn't you do everything you know? You knew you had to keep Shabbat. Why did you start worrying about Shabbat a half hour before Shabbat? Why didn't you start worrying about Shabbat on Thursday? Why didn't you learn halachot Shabbat so you stop breaking Shabbat? No, I didn't drive. Okay, you didn't drive. So the donkey didn't drive either. He doesn't have olam haba. The donkey didn't drive also on Shabbat. The lion doesn't drive on Shabbat for sure. They don't have olam haba. That's what they're going to ask you.